Jan will come a bit later. He's coming, so don't worry about that. And here we have also second and third prize winners, Grandmasters Dink and Radjabov.
MyClimateChess.com. My question is for President Vukovic. Usually the candidates in the World Championship are in the same year. Is it going to be FIDE's plan to have them in alternating years so there's more of a marquee event every year?
Well, the whole schedule during the last few years, starting from 2020, was affected by the pandemic. So we were shifting the events, and normally we should come to usual traditional schedule at some point, but this time the match will be in the spring next year. But we'll try to shift step by step to the traditional one.
Thanks.
I have one question for each player. To Teimour, I remember a conversation we had many years ago, maybe more than 15 years ago. You told me that you had decided to change your style completely because you were fed up about losing too many games, and then you decided to be less brilliant but more conservative. Then, according to today's perspective, what is your balance of that decision? Do you regret, or do you think it was the right decision to be taken? And for Liren, at the end of 2019, you were probably in the best shape of your career. The question is, how bad COVID has been for your career, and more specifically, the very strict policy from the Chinese government on COVID?
Should I start? Because the second sounds more important. Okay. Well, I mean, throughout this years, yeah, we had, I think, not a one conversation, I think many throughout the years. But yeah, I mean, I just tried to change my style. I changed my style. I was still losing games and also lost the brilliancy. So I decided to balance a bit between them. And throughout this, I don't know, more than 15 years, maybe in Arapesa was it, I think we also had an interview when I was a kid, yeah. So yeah, I mean, it changes a lot, yeah, during your career in general, the way you're approaching things, because at some point you want to play only Sicilians, but then you start to play Berlin because you know that it's better. And practically, the thing is that nowadays, I mean, everywhere more or less, if you go too far, there is a drawish lines and black is fine. But the point is that the tries that you allow, that you give the possibilities to your opponent to check you in some lines or find some idea somewhere, certainly is more limited in first D5, if talking about the black color. And yeah, I mean, it also depends on the coaches, because I was working with different coaches throughout the years. For example, when working, let's say, with Nataf, who is my friend as well, he was always like for King's Indian and for C5 against the Dink, for example. I had some thoughts that I should play for a win, like super complicated, go for the King's Indian. But then I received one message from one ex-world champion who said that you don't play this way against the Dink, just keep calm. Keep calm. Yeah, and yeah, it proved to be a better strategy, for example. But on the other hand, you would say that I didn't play, let's say, aggressive against Dink and I had to win, for example, or something like this. But then it's hard to say, because I mean, it's all the top players. They know how to play in the different situations when they have to stabilize or they have to really play for a win and so on. So they have different approaches. So sometimes you go for the Sicilian, but position is worse than in the Berlin. So yeah, that's also the case from time to time. So generally I changed a lot. I think shifted mostly from the Sicilians to the Berlin, which was the thing that made me more boring, and from the King's Indian to the Queen's Gambit and the other openings like the Tarash and so on. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's always changing. I think throughout 15 years I had many ups and downs. So there were a lot of losses, a lot of wins. And so, I mean, in a few words, it didn't work out. The strategy that I was promised to implement.
But the biggest surprise here in Madrid is that Teimour is the most experienced player in the whole.
Just old. Just old. Oldest player, yeah. That's also quite unusual, because Leoncio, when I see you, I always remember like my young years, so like when I was a kid and so on. But now it's like being here and everybody is like, I don't know, 20 something is very unusual. It's like, I mean, I'm feeling in general that I mean, I don't feel that age in terms of in terms of like the feeling that I'm the oldest player or supervisor or something. Like I cannot imagine myself giving advices to Ding, for example. But yeah, but still it's kind of very unusual. I don't know. With Nakamura, when I was playing, it was like the battle of veterans or something they called it in the yeah. But because when you are 18, 35, and 34 seems like it's somewhere in the stratosphere.
You remember the question?
This one he remembers for sure.
Yeah, you mentioned that in the end of the 2019, I was in very good shape. I win single field cup and also Grand Chess Tour final. But I believe my strength has improved since then, since the boost of the engine. I believe nowadays every top player they have better understanding than before. Since now the engines can evaluate the position more correctly than before. And before, for example, Teimour, he played King's Indian for a long time, but now some lines are not playable. Before, the engine might say it's +1, but the position is still very unclear, and the engine might drop. Joked, but now it will just stay on the very same level. Okay. And for me, okay, back to your question.
COVID related.
COVID related. Yes.
I know the story.
Yeah, the policy, of course, it prevent me from playing many tournaments abroad, and sometimes. So I have to take the online tournament very seriously. And before, I think online and the overboard games, they are totally different, because when you play online, you have more relaxed, you play some casual moves without thinking. When you play the overboard game tournaments, you think a lot and you totally focus on. But now, sometimes I think there are something in common, and they are not that different from me. Because this time, I remember sometimes I prefer to think from the screen, think in the resting room, not thinking over the board, since I changed to the online mode. And yeah, it has some positive influence to me, I also think.
This is Chess Kid reporter Jenny, who has a very special question.
Hello, it's Jen. I'm Jenny and Chess Kids, so I have questions for you. 恭喜您的胜利，为了每一个人，有听的东西，我现在会英语，问英语问题。So right now I'm talking English, but everybody understood us. So what you can recommend of the chess kids who want to be strong chess players?
Sorry, can you speak your question again? Sorry, I don't speak. I don't know your Chinese. Sorry. Can you repeat your question again? I'm very sorry.
In English, I will repeat. So, what you can recommend of the chess kids who want to be strong chess players?
My comment, chess kids.
What would you recommend to chess kids to become strong players?
First, you need to love this game. You're willing to spend more time on it. Yeah, when I was young, when I finished my homework, When
I was young.
Yeah, I spent the rest of my time studying chess or following the tournament online, and also sometimes I play some games with my friends. And I think that's the most important thing, that you are willing to spend some time on chess.
Thank you.
How was her Chinese? Did she speak Chinese good?
No comment.
It's too hard.
Obviously, I'm Sebastian here with Chess Life, filling in for John Martin. First of all, congratulations to both of you on an exceptional tournament. My main question is, in the first half, it seems that both of you seem to struggle a little bit more in the first 7 games. How did you manage to change your mindset to winning 3 and 4 games, respectively, against the best players in the world after some inactivity?
You got a question? You didn't listen. Okay. Yeah, so more or less like after 7 rounds, I mean, we were in trouble, as far as I understand, more or less. Yeah, and then we have managed to play a better tournament, starting from the second half. And yeah, actually, that's the question: how did we manage? I guess, yeah, it's for both players, right? Yeah, I mean, well, for me, the most important thing was not to tilt in the situation, because it's an obvious thing when your chances are like almost none to be the first, and then you're playing the candidates where the first spot matters than any other. I mean, the only thing that matters. So at the time, also, we don't know the decision. I mean, even now, but before, we didn't know any decision of the world champion if he's going to play. So it's not sure what you are fighting for already. You are like, in my case, on -2. And you still have to fight. There are all the players, and they're like, yeah, I was always comparing this with like kind of pull of sharks or something, because then when they, you know, for you it's like when you're coming, let's say, like as a spectator, you are like, oh, I mean, like let's do the photo or something, like they speak something, what was about that move and this move, but these guys, they just looked at, you made a few red moves on chess bomb and they want to kill you, yeah, more or less. So it's as easy as that. And then, of course, countering this kind of pressure, aggression from the players is very hard on one side. I mean, in my case, it was actually better, because I generally like to play on the counterplay games and so on. So for me, it was kind of good thing. But it all started with the game against Hikaru, I think, where I had an interesting, slightly pressurable idea as white in Berlin. And he got astray with the pawn sacrifice. He was in, I don't know, he was, I think, in a shaky mode or something. I don't know exactly how to call it, but I think he was deciding to play it solid or to play it aggressive, and then he decided in the wrong way. Still, he had good chances to save the game, but I mean, I managed, I think, to keep it well on the Tate note. And with one win already, something is really changing much, because first of all, he was going well in the tournament. And beating him is like, it's not like beating some player -3, -4, something there. And yeah, then got some boost of the confidence, and then the guys tried to beat me hard when they were white. I mean, I wasn't against it, but you know, for example, in Ding's case, I think that he was very upset about the outcome of the opening in general, as he was kind of seeking chances to fight for the first place in that situation. And getting this position out of the opening is very unpleasant, because you are supposed to play aggressive, but when you are playing aggressive against these 2 bishops and the king is like, is not castling properly. And so I think he was in between these 2 mind states, which is also unpleasant for the chess player, because I think in the last game against Nakamura, you know, his situation was much easier in these terms. I mean, it's like he just have to win, but I saw his face when he got the 0-0-0 position. He was very happy. It was clear that, I mean, with these 2 players, you know, because Nakamura is a very aggressive player, and Ding is also aggressive, but in a different way. I mean, he's playing some simple positions most of the time, and then it's hard to equalize finally. And yeah, but I think there was a proof also in the tournament. I think his game against Duda, it's a draw almost until the end, because I was trying to see, because Duda was very upset throughout the game when he was in the, you know, in the room where we were resting. And he was super upset all the time. But then when I saw it, maybe, I mean, it's lost everywhere, I don't understand anything. But it's actually draw until, I don't know, move 40-some, maybe 38 or something like this. And it was 0-0-0 by my computer. And yeah, and Ding was happy, he was upset. So that's a very, and the same thing happened with Hikaru. I think he was very close to equalizing the game. I saw that he's going to play bishop f6 and so on. But yeah, I mean, it's not so easy. So yeah, in general, I was happy about the mood of the players, that they wanted to aggress, of course. And with Richard, it's always like this. It doesn't matter. I think even he would go in the first place. I think he would still play something like that. And with the other players, of course, I was more thinking that in Ding's case, he will go for something like with a slight advantage, trying to play for a long game or something like this. Yeah, and Yeah, that was pretty much it. I mean, I was trying to be up to the task and play against the top players. It's always hard, but it could go either way. But it could not go much worse than London, I think. So I was generally prepared for everything. So it's yeah, it's also a good thing because when you're experienced, because you got it already, you're -6, 7. So you are like, okay, it's still -2. I'm fine.
Well, the short version is that they were just dreaming to participate in this press conference.
Yeah,
that was it.
For the whole 3 weeks.
For me, the reason that I play much better in the second half, I think, is that I relaxed a little bit after the disappointing first half. I become more confident, and sometimes I spend lesser time on each move, just to believe my calculation and just do not overthink too much. Yeah, and just putting pressure on my opponent and waiting for the mistake by them. I think.
Yeah, actually, I would say the same, more or less, because I've received. I just remember now that received. It's like from the blast from the past. Yeah, I mean, just we had like kind of conversation, messaging, and so on with one of the ex-world champions, and he said that could you please play faster? I say. Yeah, but you understand, I mean, I'm suffering and it's problematic, I'm suffering and so on. He says, okay, but can you suffer faster? Like talking in your language. Yeah, so that was pretty much an advice for me as well, to play faster, to believe what I'm seeing. Everybody makes mistakes and everybody's getting tired, and so the mistakes will be there, chances will be there. So if you don't take them, yeah, it's another story, but at least when you're playing faster, there is a chance that, you can really catch the chances when they come. Like for example, in my game against Richard in the first one, there was a sudden chance at some point that I could just win the piece. And okay, I was having like 3 or something, or 4 maybe minutes, and I didn't even think about it because I mean, it was so small time, and I was playing, for a draw, or like for last 10 moves or 12 moves or something like this. And I just couldn't switch, yeah. Because with the time, you go to the restroom, you look at the board, you take some drink. I mean, alcohol-free drink, I mean. Yeah. And then you just try to see what's going on. And so, yeah, you have time to find things. But in my situation, yeah, when being in constant Seitonot in all these games, didn't really help me much with Nakamura and with Caruana as well. In both games, I had pretty good chances to equalize. So yeah, that was the thing I also wanted to mention.
One very quick follow-up. We were also wondering if you happen to have a favorite game or move that you happen to play in the tournament. I know that on Twitter, for you, Teimour, rook takes e3 against Ding, seems like the entire chess world kind of went on fire. Ding, everyone was very impressed by you deciding to go rook d to c1 against Nakamura to keep all your chances alive. Do you happen to have a more proud move or a more proud game in your 14th?
Well, to be honest, I mean, it's like nice maybe for the spectators in general, this rook takes e3 stuff, but I mean, it's a pretty obvious combination, so it didn't really take too much time to calculate, but I think Ding just missed it, but position was already very unpleasant, so it's under pressure there. Rook takes e3 is, okay, it's nice to make the move, like rook takes e3 in a game, and the candidates in such a high level, but yeah, I can't say I'm like specifically proud about it, and yeah, that just was kind of professional normal move that you make when your opponent blunders. It's just that probably if you compare it like to the most pleasant move in the tournament, yes, it's probably the most pleasant move in the tournament, but it was not such a thing that I come back home and say I'm proud, I calculated so much, they're like amazing lines and so on. I also mixed, I think afterwards, some +8 mates that were very beautiful, but yeah, we are not playing here for the beauty prize, or there is some beauty prize. Oh, there was, yeah? Okay, that would change. That would probably change the situation.
So,
yeah, his favorite move for the... Same.
Yeah, rook dc1 was a way to keep the position going, and bishop f6, knight d4, like something else, like that kind of thing. But it's just as equal as the other move. So actually my favorite move is King F1 against Rapport, since I spend a lot of time on it, and I exclude the other possibilities. It won't lead to clear advantage, and in the end, I found this one finally. Although the game ended in a draw, but I played the middle game very well.
Okay. Thank you. So, time for me to thank FIDE President Mr. Untitled for being present here and to welcome the winner of this candidate tournament, Nepomniachtchi. So, the floor remains open for questions to all three players.
Yes, during the time control, we've seen a lot of exciting chess. After rounds, moving forward, after 60, only then we get 8 minutes. This question is for you. Do you believe that this time control format should be applied to all FIDE tournaments that will limit to the candidates that will lead up towards the rejection? Because it's going very well, but do you think we should still have different controls throughout the years?
Well, it's my second the tournament with this time control within the last 15 years, I would say. And I mean, the first one was the match in Dubai. And I guess, yeah, it's just a new feeling. Yeah, I think like if this would be like the basic, you know, the basic stuff. Yeah, so everyone plays without increment. Yeah, so then okay, we just maybe slightly get back, you know, to the past. Well, okay, all this Fisher increment, yeah, like or some, you know, something. But also, like in my opinion, this Bronstein stuff, like compensating time, like not edging, so you can't really earn some time with repetition, yeah. But this has like a lot of sense because it like, helps you to play without like being afraid, you know, of losing on time. And still, I mean, every time contract has like its pros and cons. I don't really see. I can't really pick one favorite.
Question for Jan. Your victory here is unquestionable, and your performance is, of course, very brilliant, the most brilliant one in the candidates tournament since this format was established. However, we didn't have the opportunity to see if you have been working on your, what is probably the weakest point. I mean, recovering psychologically after a defeat. The question is, have you worked on that field during the last months by yourself or with the help of some experts, some psychologists, or are you planning to do so in the next months?
Thank you very much for the question. Somehow I can't recall a chess player whose like strong side like is losing. And also, I mean, basically only normal result in chess is a draw. Yeah, and I would say that I mean, okay, losing is stressful, but winning also is very stressful. Yeah, because sometimes after winning a game, you also can't calm down. You can't no. Seriously, it's like, you know, emotionally, when you make a draw, everything is going nice, like according to the plan, but then, okay, you win, you also like, quite nervous. Because you have nothing to lose, kind of. But on a serious note, I think, like, it's slightly exaggerated. Yeah, I mean, okay, the question and the way you, like, posing it is,
he asked
if
Nepo has prepared psychologically for the World Chess Championship.
I mean, once again, it's hard to find a player who likes some bad deals. Yeah.
Also, I think it's not so easy about the experts on losses, yeah? To find them. Because everybody says just calm down, play normal, and things like this.
In all professional sports, the best players are working with a psychologist. Why not in chess?
That's a good question. It's a question to our professionalism, first of all. But we actually, I think all of us probably tried something different. Chess is a different type of sport, I think. It's too much connected with your mentality and your brain, which is a difference with the physical sports. Also, we cannot shout throughout during the game. Even when I'm tossing, let's say, the pawn or something like this, already Judith on the official transmission said that the opponent can say that, actually I was doing it on my time, but still the opponent can say that you're distracting and stuff like that, so it's very different. I cannot imagine, in football you can say whatever you want more or less to your opponent and to all the others, and even to coaches from time to time. But here it's like we're, in this calm, more or less environment where we cannot even say, for example, make a good move and then like celebrate on the camera or something like this. It's also hard. So it's a different type of pressure that is always on you, on your mentality there. And in chess, while consulting, let's say, like professionals from the other sports, I didn't see how it helps for the chess player, honestly. Maybe, for guys like Rafa, I don't know, Federer, maybe they know some special secret, but I'm not sure actually. I think that's, they're working with some coaches, but I think it's mostly about yourself. So I generally didn't see, maybe there are some examples, great examples or something, but what I read also from Karpov and Kasparov times and so on, didn't really help much. They both couldn't sleep through the entire match, and they were, Kasparov was also not recovering very well after a few losses in the first match against Karpov. So it was quite hard. So I don't see that. Probably if there is a specialist, then you would advise. You would recommend something.
Yeah, but I also would like to add it. In general, it's chess, especially in some long tournament, is always like some sort of emotional roller coaster. And once again, despite you winning or losing, it's still like a lot is left behind the so not everything is highlighted in the result. And for example, in Soviet times, I think Nikolai Krogius, who had probably also a grandmaster, I think, but also some psychologist. And he said always after a loss you should make a draw. Just never play for a win. You should make a draw to make yourself into some normal mood. Yes.
I used this method for some time.
Soviet just.
Hi, I'm streaming right now. I'm at Cramling. I'm streaming to my audience.
You're always streaming.
I'm always streaming. Congrats to all three for an amazing tournament. I had a question that is a little bit different from the others, but if you would only play chess for fun, what do you think is the most fun chess opening? Do you have anyone that comes to mind specifically? To all three players, yeah.
I don't know, as black, maybe first b6.
First b6.
And Janish, maybe. Yeah, I think Janish Gambit is the funniest one, more or less. But actually, I've played it on a high level as well, and it wasn't that bad. But but it's a funny one. You are just giving up a pawn, like half of your flank is weak already after move 3, and still you're fighting, so that's kind of thing. But I'm just very excited to hear what Ding will say, because...
but it's quite strange you played Janish as black and you never played King's Gambit as white.
Yeah, but I didn't buy your course. Just say
we can discuss.
Yeah, the conditions.
Yeah.
No, but also there was a Grandmaster Sveshnikov. I think once, he had a theory on the openings. And so he told, I think, us at some point we were in Corsica, and there were like top grandmasters. And Tapala was there. I was there. At the time, I don't remember exactly who else, but some more grandmasters. And he said that after e4, the only correct move is c5, and after knight 3, the only correct move is knight c6, and so on. He was explaining, and somebody asked, "What about d4, e5 for King's Gambit?" He said, "King's Gambit is a direct draw." And so one of the grandmasters said, "Okay, next time I will need to make a draw. I will go to the King's Gambit with white." So yeah, it's King's Gambit probably is also fun because this g5s, like giving up the pieces and stuff. But yeah, it really also reminds the Danish somehow.
Yeah, but by the way, I guess there's one of the very first chess books ever. I think it's from Lucena, like some Spanish finest chess players of 15th century, I think he wrote that, the first move c4, the first move c4 is probably the worst move ever. And the reason was like that you cannot develop your bishop to c4 to b5 anymore. So that's how you can play Lopez. So that's how you can play Gioco Piano. Yeah, but okay, c4 just player can play out of total desperation of on move one. It's just a big mistake, and no one plays like this.
And now it's time for Dink, who goes c4 most of the time.
Yeah, especially here.
I would recommend it for black player, maybe King's Indian and the Sicilian. It's the most complicated lines, also playable. Yeah, the aim is to make the white kings and to get attacking games.
Thank you.
Also, a classical opening, not that bad.
Thank you so much for answering the question. Thank you.
Well, I couldn't like the story of the team. The discussion has something historical more than traditionally, countries, regimes, especially racing supremacy, chess try to help the players in order to have a world champion. It was supposed to, China was supposed to do something similar, but what's the shocking thing about this is that you came here on your own, they didn't have any system, and I can see in support from the People's Republic of China in order so that one of the citizens can get the championship. Yeah? How do you understand that?
You are looking at me, I don't
know. By a country to get
no idea.
To come along is not such big things for me, since I also have second remote. Yeah, sometimes I need some friends accompanying, but also I can chat with them online. So I think it's not a big problem for me. This is the support I receive. Yeah, sometimes I don't need too much support. I think it will take a lot of time. Also, some things I prefer to do alone.
Don't forget that you're ready for the world champion.
And the other question is a bit more harsh. It is for Jan. I want to ask you about preparing for recovering from the defeat. Yeah? And I saw your coach the other day, Tita, wearing a Atletico de Madrid shirt. It's a team that is beautiful, losing and trying hard again. Is that part of your new conception of the training?
I mean, we are trying to be witty, yeah? But I guess now that's just his die-hard fan of Atletico.
Which you go, was it?
Yeah, Nikita, die-hard fan of Atletico. Yeah. I mean, yeah, however, we like, there are like a lot of nice fountains here in Madrid, yeah, and I guess one fountain is somewhat, for celebration for Real Madrid fans, and another one, Sibelius, I think, is for Real Madrid fans.
Yes.
And Neptune is for Atletico Madrid fans, yes. That's the only thing, actually only thing I used to know from Nikita here, yeah, for the whole, for the 2 weeks, yeah. Well, we somehow, it was an idea to celebrate in a fountain, but somehow I felt like too much police during this summit here. Maybe not that safe.
Thank you. There was a question at the back.
Okay, guys, I'll try to repeat the question.
My question to Jan. Jan was once
would say when it was like before the last two rounds, okay, then the 12th round was finished, yeah. So, I mean, I felt like even theoretically, yeah, I didn't see anyone like scoring 2 out of 2. And okay, also I was somewhat like not forced to lose both games, yeah, so I felt pretty much safe, but this was like, I mean, this is safe like in theory, but still you see, okay, this mathematical stuff, yeah, okay, so like both Hikaru and Ding played brilliantly here, and they also play each other in the last round, so surely someone will push. So I sort of expected here, you know, last game, you know, last round game in between Hikaru and Ding to be decisive. So, well, you know, like still until I agreed for a draw, yes, okay, I exchanged all the pieces with Richard, yeah, I agreed for a draw. Until that moment, it still, you know, somewhere deep inside, like, anything can happen and you shouldn't, like, you know, celebrate your...
I was thinking that maybe after Corona draw, like, people were like, okay, maybe I'm close to winning.
Especially after the draw in the second round.
You would be able to win the candidates.
Yeah, after the draw in the second round, because for me, I felt quite desperate about the position. No, seriously, I felt like, okay, he surely will take on B2, and I mean, I didn't see if I'm losing, yeah, but the general feeling was the position was very bad, and it's confirmed by the Giants. But yeah, it was like a very big relief. So that after such a brilliant game, Fabiano played me completely, and I think he made a better, you know, just a bunch of best in Giant moves. And he was like very provocative and very interesting, you know, opening choice also from him. But then, okay, this game suddenly ended in a draw by repetition. Yeah, and probably in the moment I was nearly losing all the hope. Yeah, about this game. Yes, it was some good news.
Of course, I think this question should be asked. Yeah, now that you are going to play the World Championship match, what we should expect from you? What are you going to do to prepare maybe differently to the World Champion if he will decide finally to play? And the second question, if he doesn't play, which we hope will not happen, still, would you prefer to play against the World Champion or second place in the candidates, Liren?
Well, starting with the second question, so if the World Champion doesn't play, I would prefer to play with him, so he just doesn't come, yeah, and that's how I make it, yeah. Perhaps. No, I mean, obviously we have rules of the cycle, yes, so, I mean, okay, this question indeed bothers me, because maybe not only me, also, like, let's say, chess community, because I guess it wouldn't be, you know, good at all if the reigning champion like decides not to defend the title. But on the contrary, you know, playing the match with the buy and, you know, playing two candidates despite, okay, I won both. I mean, I can understand because the pressure is enormous, and I mean, basically, I mean, it doesn't matter how good you score, how much you score, how good you play. It's constant suffering, yeah, like for the whole tournament, for the whole match. No, seriously, it's a constant. Yeah. It's just, I mean, okay, it's like, okay, if you win here, win there, yeah, it's very nice, but until it's over, you just, I mean, okay, at least, you know, as for me, yeah, until it's over, I just feel like, Jesus, please stop this, yes, I really feel like counting days until it's done, okay, basically you, somewhere deep inside you agree for any result, just, okay, let's finish, yeah. And let's not forget, okay, I know, he played like 5 matches already, yes. It could be sometimes quite stressful. Yeah, and regarding the first part, my preparation, what I'm going to do, I think my general experience out of the first match, because I expected it to be like mostly about the chess, but I would say it's mostly not about the chess. So it's about like I don't know, let's say the system, yeah, like I mean. Some obvious things like, I don't know, like health, stamina, you know, mental preparation and so on, but it's also, you know, very, very, very small nuances, and it comes just like it comes, sometimes as a snowball. Yeah, if one thing goes wrong, and another thing goes not so good, and then again, the end of the day, just things are not good. Sometimes just things are not going your way. Yep. So it's very, very. I mean, it's really a lot of different aspects you should work at.
Thank you very much.
We can take another couple of questions before releasing the players, so if there are any. Any more questions? Good, then perfect. I'd like to thank you all for being here. Thank you for the questions. Thank you, players.
Thank you.